Hey, it's Chris. What are we talking about today? News, upcoming, things on my radar, right? And I'm not sure if this is true with anybody else that makes videos like this. I hate the prospect of just going to do this, but the second I sit down in front of this freaking camera, boom, shakalaka, like light switch on. And what do we got going on this week? Well, Boardgamegeek nominees came out. Boardgamegeek nominees, which brings up a very interesting topic that I wasn't planning on talking about, but we'll get there as well. And then a little bit of just new games, a new Stonemaier situation that I was actually planning on leading with. But let's go with the Boardgamegeek situation as a whole first, and then kind of see where that takes us, because there's a couple other little side bits we can get into depending on how long I want to rant today. But Boardgamegeek nominees, right? We'll go through them, what I think should win and what I think is going to win. Those two things are completely separate. And you've got people moaning, oh, the games I nominated didn't make it. You know what? Maybe your taste in games just isn't good. Sorry, not sorry. I said what I said, right? The other thing that goes along with this, there were people bemoaning over on Reddit about how certain games shouldn't be included in there. That they were just getting thrown in there because of politicking. I'm like, holy frackin' storms, Batman. That is literally every single game. How many emails do you get? Are you signed up for any of these newsletters from any of these companies? Right? Like almost everybody sends something out saying, hey guys, here's the link. Go vote for us. Not even just on the post nominees, like even for the actual nominees. Like even getting on the ballot, essentially, right? And people are bemoaning. They're picking one or two that they hate for whatever reasons. You know, there was some hate leveled at one game that has a religious tone. They're like, well, this one just got shoehorned in, and I know why. Like, well, they're just doing this to politic. They're just doing this to incentivize. Everyone's doing it. Does that make it right, though? No, it doesn't. It kind of irritates me when I see all that lobbying for things as well. But at the same time, be the change you want to see, because that's the reason why a lot of people have their little award thing, right? Because it works. You are influenced by it. If it didn't work, they wouldn't do it. Right? So these must mean something. These must mean something in terms of actual, we put it on a stamp, we put it on the whatever, we highlight it on our crowdfunding campaign, winner of this, nominee of that, and they market the hell out of it. So if you don't like it, don't base your recommendations off of things like that, right? I say this tons on my channel. Don't buy a game because I like it. Don't buy a game because anybody likes it. Buy a game because you freaking love it. If you're doing anything but that, you're going to end up like this. And it's slight exaggeration there. A lot of this is review and a lot of this is, anyway. But you know what I'm saying. Do what I say, not what I do, right? Anyway, let's get to the nominees. You know what? Screw it. I was going to get all fancy and put all the images up, but I thought this would be a heck of a lot easier because I'm feeling a little lazy today. So we just have the list, right? And they run you through all the nominees, all of these different categories. Now, slight difference than like in the years past, because like 5 years ago, like Wingspan came out, right? Like Wingspan won basically everything because they didn't have, and this is Boardgamegeek's fault. I blame them for this more than anything else. I'll probably get banned from there for even saying this. But, they were kind of like, well, you kind of fit under the categories Wingspan of light game, medium game, heavy game, as well as two-player game and solo game. So we're just going to let you go under every single one. Wrong. Right? So they've actually put a little bit of restriction on this nowadays. There's a reason there's no YouTube channel on there, but they do podcasts. Like, again, like, why is that? Where's the, I don't know. Anyway, that's probably a good thing because they have all of their own sponsored YouTube channels that get sponsored by them nowadays, the ones that always make the front page. So, it would be a clear and obvious lobbying and biased issue from that standpoint. Plus, I'd never make it anyway. That's where I'm coming from, biased and, totally biased. Anyway, the games, two-player games, right? Some good stuff here. Boop, Lorcana, don't know this war game. Dracula Helsing, again, Dracula Helsing probably underrated, has no exposure. Lacuna, Orionburger Canal, Thale, Sky Team, Star Wars deck building, Undaunted. Again, having played about half the games on this list, I would argue that probably the best, mechanically speaking, is going to be Undaunted Battle of Britain. Or maybe like Boop from a pure abstract style things. If you let me pick the winner right now, I would pick the winner probably as Lacuna though. I'm an abstract lover. It was in my top 10 of 2023. Boom. That's my winner. The overall winner, though, is going to be Sky Team. It's going to be Sky Team, hands down. Sales got some dark horse marketing, and I think people kind of like Lorcana, but Lorcana's is not mainly on Boardgamegeek, folks. So I think that's going to be a miss. Star Wars is Star Wars, but the deck building game hasn't gotten as much love because people are, it's just Star Realms. It's freaking fun. So my first pick would be Lacuna. And my second place would probably be Boop. I just haven't played Sky Team. And maybe Sky Team would be my pick if I had played it. But we'll go on to artwork and presentation. Apiary, Burgundy, Darwin's Deliverance, Distilled Earth, Expeditions, Earthborn, Forceborn, all this stuff, right? Artwork and presentation. I mean, Voidfall is going to be a heavy favorite, I think, in this one. But I think ultimately Castles of Burgundy, I mean, again, say as unwieldy as some of the stuff is for Castles of Burgundy, the artwork is absolutely knock it out of the park. And so that would be my pick to win. And I think barring, major lobbying otherwise, I think that's probably the one that should win as well. Cooperative, again, I've played about half of these games on this list. I'm going to go, actually, the favorite on the media side of things, I would argue, based on when I looked at the mass review list of 2023, it's going to be Unmatched Tales to Amaze here. What's actually going to win? Well, I mean, Earthborn Rangers got the big shut up and sit down nudge, so, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they make a lot of waves. Marvel Zombies is a zombie side game, and Daybreak is probably the most underappreciated on this list as a whole, but you have Sky Team. Sleeping Gods, again, I don't think it's made waves as much as the first Sleeping Gods did, so I don't think that's going to win. But you know what? Let's say Unmatched Adventures is what I think probably should win. I think actually something like Zombies is actually... No, you know what? No, there's going to be a counter hate against Zombie Side because it's a Zombie Side game. So let's say both for Unmatched with that one. Expansion. Arc Nova, Cascadia, or Spirit Island. I mean, what should win? Spirit Island, hands down. Mechanically speaking, soundly above everything else on this list. No doubts about that. Most expansive, most just well-rounded, most just fan-freaking-tastic. I don't even have the adjectives, right? I'm speechless. What should win? Spirit Island. What's going to win? Arc Nova. Heavy gamers are going to come out and just landslide that one. I don't think they're going to have any chance. Innovative. Now, doing something completely different. Okay. What should win? Stationfall. Stationfall should win. That's my pick to win. From my standpoint, Ticket to Ride is just Ticket to Ride plus Legacy. Voidfall is just a super heavy Euro with a lot of stuff. Kutnahora does a little bit of a twist to the economic Euro style things. Sky Team's just a straight up cooperative with dice. Yes, I'm minimalisticing all of these, right? And Stationfall, again, is a social deduction, but I think it's one of the best social deduction games ever made, so I think it's innovative in that sense. Earthborn Rangers, you could probably say, is going to win, though. Daybreak is good. Apiary, I don't think either of those are doing super, super innovative stuff. I mean, my top three would probably be what I think should win versus what is going to win. I'd say Earthborn Rangers is going to win. I think Stationfall should win. I think Sky Team and Hegemony might edge it out as well, but I think Earth Rangers overall. Light game of the year here. Again, far away. Like, I don't even have my pre-order copy from Pandasaurus, so I hate that this game is on lists. Anyway, I know, North America problems, right? First world problems. Thunder Road Vendetta is going to win, and it should win. It's better than everything else on that list, period. Medium game of the year, right? These are some fighting words, Chris. Again, I think it's going to be a toss-up between White Castle and Earth. I think ultimately Earth is going to edge White Castle out. I think you're going to have a little bit of a split vote there with some of those. And I also don't think Castles of Burgundy or Ticket to Ride are going to win because I think the price point barrier to entry is going to prevent people from looking at that. Although there's still this sort of the dark horse media pick from the last year. I saw that on a lot of lists that I wasn't expecting to as well. So I'm really excited about their upcoming game, Luthier, though. I'm kind of interested in that one. So there we go with that. And then heavy game of the year, Age of Innovation, Dune Imperium. And people, again, were griping on Reddit like, which one of these isn't like the other? Hegemony, Nucleum, Age of Innovation, Dune Imperium, Uprising, Evacuation. That's fine. They're not all, but I mean, yeah, Dune Imperium's heavier than any of these. So you know what? Screw you if you're one of those people that's nitpicking this stuff. Personally speaking, Dune Imperium was my number one game, so I would pick Dune Imperium. I don't really care what you guys think of your heavy stuff. What's gonna win though? I don't have a clue on this one. I don't have a clue. I could see any of these, eking things out. I don't think Scholars has enough of a broad base. You know what? Let's just go Voidfall again. I think Voidfall is going to get it because that was a media darling too, and people really like that. And it's a great game, just not for me. Party game. I don't know. This is getting outside of my expertise. My personal pick, Nekojima. It's not going to be on anyone else's list, though. I mean, it was a top 10 game. I think it was, what 3 for me of the year? 3 or 4? So that would easily be my game as a whole. I would make the argument that something that's broader appealing is going to win overall as a whole, because I just don't think more people are going to be exposed to Nekojima. So let's go Among Cultists on that one. Again, solid game, but pick your flavor. So print and plays, don't have a clue. Shoes Tactics and Waypoints. Those would be my picks because I'm more familiar with those than anything else. So I would actually go with Waypoints myself personally because I bought the copy and I backed it. Solo game. Solo game is going to come down to 20 Strong or Earthborn Rangers, whatever has a bigger following from that aspect. I don't really know where the Solar Gamers Guild is at right now on BoardGameGeek, so I'm going to make the argument that it's probably going to be Earthborn Rangers because those LCG folks are fanatics more than anything else. Thematic game, you know what? I would probably go with Thunder Road Vendetta again, just because it actually encapsulates it. You know, you're actually racing cars. That'd be my pick. I think that one thematically is going to win, but I think you're going to have a lot of Witcher folk that are like, but it has the aesthetic of a game. Well, it needs more than that for me. War games, I don't know. I want a copy of Bloodstone still, so we'll go with that one. But ultimately, I think people liked Weimar, The Fight for Democracy, and Undaunted Battle of Britain. So those would be my personal picks if I actually had to choose one. But although General Orders World War II has been the most across the board available, so my pick would still be Bloodstones, personally speaking, but I think something more like Halls of Hegra actually has a chance too. Best podcast, I don't have a clue. All I know with the podcast ones, like I mentioned, is that if you win before, they don't allow you to win it again. So a lot of these are just like recasts from the past year or two, I think, or 3 years. And so they just slowly do the Hall of Fame thing where slowly, eventually all of these are going to get in, but they're just going to get winnowed down and replaced each year. I don't know. Best board game app, where's Summoner Wars 2? I think that was previous years. I don't know. I don't have played any of these apps, but if you ask me which was my favorite game of all these to play, Unmatched Digital Edition or maybe Fantasy Realms. Take some of the math out of it. So there you go, right? Nominees, what do you think? How much was missed? Are you okay with any of those? Are you not okay with any of those? So then we'll go back to the main attraction that I was planning on talking about before I got sidetracked with the Board Game Geek nominees being announced and delivered and blah, 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 blah. Because, you know, I'll cover, you know, when they actually get announced of who wins. But Stonemaier, my boy, I don't know, Jamie. It's not like we're on a first name basis, right? I get like, 3 emails from him a year. They just announced their latest game. And I covered this, I think, last year when one of the other upcoming things got leaked, or Apiary, I think, got leaked and said it was coming out. Someone over on Reddit, like, went to the trademark U.S. Patents Office or whatever website and found a bunch of the names, and one of them, I believe, was Vantage. And so Vantage is actually now up on BoardGameGeek, and it's basically 1,300 cards. A combination of Earthborn Rangers meets Elden Ring, essentially what they're going on, and sort of a point-and-click style adventure move around based on a card play 7th Continent-esque. And again, 1,300 cards are 400 cards of them are, or 200 cards of them are double-sided. So just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cards, which if you're a sleever, that should scare the hell out of you. But if you're not, you're going, haha, whatever. So that's the thing, right? Is it for you? I mean, it sounds cool. It's more of a scenario non-legacy rogue-esque like game, meaning you just kind of go through until you're done and you just redo it. So I mean, I'm intrigued. I'd like to try it. We'll see. You know, it's a game that, again, like most Stonemaier games, will end up on my for trade list or wanting to trade for list. And so you can already like pre-order some of the stuff or buy the metal coins already and just kind of see where it goes. But I believe it's a 2025 release, if I remember or recall correctly. So that's a long time off, right? If that's actually the case. I mean, this is April. This is the end of April, folks. 8 months. Talk about the hype train. Hey, he does it better than probably anyone else in the industry, so I'll give him kudos from that side of things. Then another thing that came across my radar is something that I ended up doing today. Kickstarter. Kickstarter is implementing late pledges, their own sort of pledge manager. So Kickstarter is actually, for like the first time ever, responding to some of the market share loss that they've had with GameFound and BackerKit Rising. I don't know. Is it in response to that? I have to think so. They're finally noticing, hey guys, maybe we actually have some competition. Maybe we should do something with our product that isn't crappy and poorly interfaced on a website basis. That makes it harder to find our projects or harder to click on them or harder to tell what's going on. But now you can late pledge. And so I'll make this argument. I actually have been meaning to shoot Alex a message. Again, I don't know why. I'm not on a first name basis with these folks. They don't talk to him like twice a year. But Alex from Board Game Co. over, the CMO of GameFound, because I'm curious, because I saw a debate online on Boardgamegeek the other week when I was reading through some stuff about saying something that I had alluded to in the past of saying, the big projects on GameFound do really well. But some of the smaller projects seem to have a little bit harder time. Again, I can't speak to the numbers, but I've been meaning to message him and see if he has some more specific numbers. Because, we still use Kickstart as a verb or an adjective, right? And it's like Q-tip, right? Band-Aid. You use it like that rather than to refer to it. You Google instead of web search, right? You don't Yahoo anymore, right? Or Bing. Nobody bings. Go Bing it. That sounds like something else altogether. But that's the thing. I'd be curious to see what kind of statistics they have and what kind of market share they've taken. And they've definitely taken some. And we're seeing growth, obviously. Huge growth. But comparatively, I have no idea. And Kickstarter is, horribly obtuse with their numbers as a whole as well. So unless you have someone, separately compiling them, like several Boardgamegeek users or Reddit users have done separately, it's kind of all just nebulous out there, and he said, she said sort of stuff. So I'm very curious, because I'm very numbers driven. I like seeing data. I like seeing evidence. So I'd be very curious to see where that goes. But again, like as I mentioned, similarly, just tying this in, I talked about it last week a little bit too. CMON's basically they're going one project a month, folks, because this week we also saw the announcement of the Genesis Clan Wars is going to be going in May. So we had the Dead Keep in March. We have God of War in April. We have the Genesis Clan Wars in May. We've got DC United in July. I think they've got an RPG like Zombie Side. That wouldn't surprise me if that was in June. So everything a month. I was joking about it when I talked about it when they went over to GameFound and signed the exclusive pack that we still don't know anything about. But it's legit now. So if they pump out 12 campaigns this year, none of those are delivered. That's literally going to double the amount of campaigns that they have undelivered in a short time frame. I would argue, though, maybe they're getting some financial incentive from GameFound, especially if you can start pre-ordering. Now, again, right? Do you delineate the pre-orders versus the crowdfunding campaign ones? What makes them do one versus the other? Why am I using bunny quotes so much in the air? Because they're fun. But that's where my head goes. And I raised it last week, so I'm not going to beat that dead horse too much this time, but it's my thoughts. And this is more of a war game with the Genesis Clan Wars, so I'm probably going to pass on it. It's more like Song of Ice and Fire, I think, more than anything else. So it's probably going to be easy pass for me, but that's cool too. So we'll stay with this. And I wanted to mention this one because I didn't mention it on the other week's fails. Stormsunder, Lazy Squire Games, WTF, right? This one was sort of hyped as the next big thing, right? The next big campaign game from like 3 years ago. Ooh, boy. It ain't anywhere close. This was the one that had like 5 expansions. Lazy Squire does some awesome miniatures, and it's just sort of got nothing going on, period. And this was a game that for like the all-in was something like $400 or $500. I know plenty of other channels went big on it, like, hey, guide to Pledge Manager, or all of the expansion content you should get. And right now, it's sitting in freaking limbo like a Peterson game. Does that terrify you? It should. It's a lot of money if you've thrown it all that way right now. And the latest update over on the crowdfunding page, it's titled A Game Within a Game at the beginning of this month. And they don't really have any new tricks. They're talking about a new game mode that's included in the stretch goal campaign book, whatever, right? So they're still playtesting. And to be clear, right, they're still playtesting. And as I'm going over the page, right, I'm sorry, actually. I apologize. I got my facts wrong earlier. A minute ago. It funded 4 years ago. 4 years ago. I don't even do my Kickstarter look backs. That I just did the 3 year ago earlier this week, right? Or 3 years? Yeah, 3 years ago. 3 years ago was like Marvel United X-Men. It's been that long, I know. But that's how long. This raised $800,000 in crowdfunding. So more than most of the Peterson ones. And I'm pretty sure the Pledge Manager had even more money than that. If you told me the Pledge Manager did equal to that, I would probably believe you. And you know what the best part is? you can actually click on the late pledge and see if you can get in. But although it says pre-orders are disabled, maybe you can maybe you can't. And it's probably a good thing if you can't. So, oh man, that's a long time. Now, is it a Madara situation? Hopefully. Cross your fingers, right? But the update before April 1 was at the end of February, where they're still talking, again, missions and laying out stuff, and very, very short amount of information, and still testing and pictures. So not actually having any information on where the game state is at this point. None. And that's a little bit not great. They say the last update prior to the February one, they said they needed at least 3 more months of testing and 4 months a safer bet. So again, like, it's not a red flag by any means, but yellows are flying all over the place like a beach on a windy day. So, whoo boy, I don't want to add this one to the list, but we're going to add it to the list of, well, let's watch and see where that one goes. Reminds me of a couple of those other IP-based games. What is it? Shadows of something, ninja game? I don't know. They had 2 campaigns. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not going into that one either, though. It's a bunny trail waiting to happen as a whole. So what else we got going on? Well, the upcoming crowdfunding games this week. That's what we'll go to right now because, again, why not stick with crowdfunding as a whole? I'll have one big video coming out this week. My updated review of Fractured Sky, because Fractured Sky from Ivy Studios is coming back with a deluxeification, bling over the top, and some new gameplay content. How does it make you feel, right? Are you in on it? Were you in on it? Do you want to get in on it? It's a pretty great game. But again, it's different than all the other ones. I'm not sure where it falls right now. I really, really, really liked the Veiled Fate expansion, and that probably knocked, for the moment, Veiled Fate up to my number 2 Ivy Studios game. Still behind Myth Makeshift. There's nothing out there that's beating that right now. But it's going to give you more as sort of a area control, blind bid, sum total, victory point, upgrading your asymmetric faction situation going on. So, do you like the little cool magnetic pieces, tokens that can get slotted under your ships? Yeah, it's a cool gimmick. Speaking of gimmicks, Canvas is also coming back, a big box with a reprint and new cards, also on the 30th. So, we're going to see what they have going on there with Canvas. Again, like, some of you guys, and to be very clear, I always have to explain myself in this situation. When I say gimmick, like, gimmicks can be very good. Canvas's gimmick has been tremendous. People love it, but they're gimmicked in the pretty sense of getting them in, roped in with that, and then the gameplay wins them over. So that's great. I think that's great. And it's aesthetically pleasing. It's pleasing from a gameplay standpoint, and now you can get all of it. And their deluxeifications have not been widely available on retail, basically at all, I think. So people that really love it are really buying in from these expansion content, reprint, Kickstarter, crowdfunding campaigns, right? Word salad. So yeah, more stuff. I guess the question again is, how many expansions can you have for Canvas before it becomes a little bit too much? Gets rid of the simplicity of the gameplay in a nutshell. So that'd be my only question. Then we also have the other one coming up this week, Kinfire Council, which is a worker placement game set with the other Kinfire environments or settings, worlds, if you will. We have the 2 solo 1 to 2 player games that have come out at retail, and then we had the dungeon crawl that came out last year as well. So this is more of a worker placement vibe, and it'll be interesting to see how this one compares. Does the high fantasy theme aesthetic overlap with things? That's sort of my question, I think, next month as well, when Yonder from Sinister Fish, I think, is launching too. So, again, how is that appeal? Is there a big enough crowd that likes high fantasy style Euro worker placement games-ish? Or is it just more they like Ameritrash? I don't know. It's an interesting Venn diagram to think about from that side of things. The other one coming out from Gale Force 9, which was announced a while back. I never really heard anything from that. I signed up to be a reviewer potentially for this one. I just never heard anything. So either way, I'm intrigued. The Adventures of Conan, asymmetric dice game of exploration with the Conan IP. Challenges, victories, scenario-based, dice rolling. Does this appeal to you? I was never a huge Conan person to begin with, and the Mythic Battles got me, and I went FOMO on that more than anything else. This has a whole different aesthetic vibe and just mechanistic approach than anything else similar to that. So if you can do kind of a cool dice-based system here, again, I'd be intrigued. I just worry maybe it's a little bit too dice-based when your pictures have like 10 dice for each character, right? But there's some videos already on the pre-launch page from Board Game Co. as well as Foster the Meeple. So if you're looking for any more info, there appears to be some of that out from a preview standpoint, and we'll kind of see where it goes, because that's going to be the question. Is gameplay wise, is it going to make and hold up your attention, especially if the price point from Gale Force 9 is going to be a little bit higher? Then, well, we're there. Finally, the hotness, right? Fallout. It's because the show is killing it. I thought, after watching season 1, I was relatively impressed. I have no experience or influence from the video game in the first place, and I was relatively pleased by the series. Finished it, liked it, would probably recommend it, and, you know, it's just a good time. Just a good time. They did a solid job on it. I could care less whether or not it's continuity based with the other systems or IPs or whatever else out there, but it was good. So, well, you're seeing some crossover now and people pulling out the video game, and apparently they're pulling out the board game too. Harmonies is still on the list from last week. So is Slay the Spire. Again, I'm going to try and trade for a copy. It's getting relatively good vibes overall. I doubt that anyone is going to hate it. I mean, again, like I said, when the campaign launched, it's probably going to have a pretty high basement. Is the ceiling going to be as high? Are you going to want to play multiplayer, especially if you were a video game of it in the first place player? So we'll see. Knights of the Round Table, which I talked about. Arcs is going to be delivering shortly in the next month, 6 weeks. I don't know, something along those lines. And so we'll see. Space Biff's preview review, second, third time around, was posted and over on Boardgamegeek and Reddit. So it's getting a lot of clicks. And guy is a wordsmith with words, right? So much so I'm the opposite with words when I'm talking about things in a video. So you can check out his review. Very glowing from that aspect of things and very positive so far. But the real question for someone like myself that I, again, have to do hands-on is, if you had a hard time like I do getting root and oath, just combining the words root and oath. If you have a hard time getting those two games played, is this going to be any easier? And indications maybe point to yes, but we'll see. So that's going to be the big question, I think, with that one more so than anything else. Stonemaier, like I just talked about, Vantage, it's also on the hotness. Cooperatively exploring an entire planet's open world from the first-person perspective is the official tagline, with more cards than you can ever hope to have sleeved in one session. So that's going on there as well. And then just kind of the other usual stuff. Earth with Earth Abundance, with the expansion that I talked about in the crowdfunding roundup yesterday, adding a new mechanism, adding more cards, giving you just slightly more variety, and, you know, maybe mitigating some of the randomness out of the big card deck that people don't like in the first place, which I don't have a problem with. It's grown on me, haha, as I said on my review. And we'll see. Again, Connor reached out and said, you know what, look, I think that the expansion actually streamlines things. He said that a lot of the playtesters thought it helped with that thing. And again, I had much less probably experience playing it than they do. So if they say that, then you know what? Awesome. Because it's just a maybe game group dependent situation as a whole, right? Maybe I'm just a slower gamer, right? No, I'm going to tee things up in that way for you guys just to rail on me in the comment section. He's slow. He's a slow game. Anyway, no, I don't have analysis paralysis, though, to be fair. I am too impatient to have analysis paralysis. And then Dragon Bond, Lords of Vala, with that crowdfunding campaign going on. Skyrise being delivered currently, which I have yet to play, and I wanted to get a review out before the end of the month. It's not going to happen. And, speaking of things, I actually just got the World Wonders expansion too. Boom! So hopefully your boy will get that played soon. Do a little combo new stuff review again, 3 or 4 in 1, or a little bit of maybe expansion stuff, because I also did an unboxing video the other day of Spirit Nature Incarnate Island. This one right here. Spirit Island Nature Incarnate. I'm leaving that in there because this is what you get from this channel, right? Like, nobody else, I feel like, leaves in outtakes. I don't even know. I don't watch anybody else. That's a generic overstatement, probably. Everyone leaves in outtakes. Nobody leaves in outtakes. I don't know. Who cares if you made it this far? This is why I look on the YouTube analytics like once a year and I see this just precipitous dip in the number of viewers that watches at this point in the video. I don't know. I'm done. I'm rambling. I don't really have anything else going on. Oh, that was the last thing here at the end. The new announcement of Unexpected Games is Unexpected Latest Game. Mandalorian Adventures? Huh? Star Wars-based adventure system game? Okay. My kid will be all over it. Like, my 10-year-old, this is his favorite thing, right? Like, in the Star Wars universe is Mandalorian, so That's a win from that aspect. Complete missions with recognizable characters from your favorite TV show. Navigating unique maps, missions, and cooperation over goals to avoid defeat. 8 unique characters, asymmetric decks of cards and strategies, dilemmas with complete mission objectives. Okay, intuitive system that's easy to teach, and mission types added over time, maybe even a hidden trader mechanism. No, get rid of the hidden trader mechanism. Again, don't need to see that, don't need to necessarily do that. I'm going to mispronounce his last name, so we'll just call him Corey, the designer. You're going to recognize him from games like Battlestar Galactica and 3000 Scoundrels, as well as a bunch of the Descent stuff, some Eldritch Horror stuff, Rune Wars, Star Wars Destiny, and the other one that I'm completely blanking on. Oh yeah, The Initiative, that one. So it gives me sort of more of the Initiative vibes, but again, we'll see. I'm open for a good Star Wars game, right? Did you think I could go the whole video without mentioning Star Wars Unlimited? I'm in a current dilemma right now. No, I'm not. We're not going to talk about it. Anyway, I'll let you know how my quest to 100 games in April is gone. We'll have that video out early in the month as well, because Star Wars Unlimited Sundays are still going on. FFG, call me. I want to be on your team. And, well, we'll stop right there before I get myself in trouble. That's all I got. Have a great freaking weekend. Solo parenting, loving it, doing it, killing it. Phrasing. Doing really well and doing awesome with the kids and having a great time. Hopefully. Patience is a lesson well learned. And, you know what? Not taking yourself too seriously. We got a bunch of soccer. We can do it. Boom! Your boy's out. Have a great freaking weekend. Sub if you made it this far. If you made it this far and you're not subbed for me, like, either you're like a masochist or you just are entertained by me thoroughly and just don't like hitting subscribe. So that's cool too. I'm kosher with that. Have a great day though. Play something fun this weekend. Thanks for watching. See you around. Stay classy. Spirit Nature Incarnate Island. Nyah.